and welcome. My name is Joyna Sike from Kituo Sheria. Today we continue to dive deeper into this year's 16 Days of Activism. We continue to talk about the theme, which is Unite to End Digital Violence Against All Women and Girls. And today we get to look at the legal aspects of this. Here we have a legal expert, and I'll let him introduce himself.
Thanks, Joy. My name is Jimmy from Kituo Sheria. I'm an advocacy, governance, and community partnerships officer, and I work with communities, understand where they're coming from when it comes to rights, constitutional obligations, and work with them through the entire law process.
Thank you, Jimmy. And maybe just to start off this discussion, from a legal perspective, what is your understanding of digital violence?
Okay, I think digital violence is any harm that crosses into the digital realm. So, any harm people may face via technology, via tech tools, in digital spaces. So, because we live in that world as well, so like any harm that you come across there can be considered as digital violence.
Okay. And are there human rights laws that protect people from online violence? And if they are there, what are they? And do you feel like people are aware of these laws?
Yes, I'd want to say people are sort of aware of these laws, but then it needs to be probably broken down to them. Some of the things I'd say is we are safe, we're supposed to be safe from digital violence because the Constitution guarantees it, and it guarantees it in different forms, like your right to life, your right to privacy, your right from discrimination, and it's the various harms that come across digitally would attack your privacy. Someone might disclose something about you that you actually wouldn't want it to be there.
Yeah.
Or you find like big corps processing your data very unrespectfully. And also you find just people threatening your life. That's a form of digital harm. And the Constitution does guarantees through the Bill of Rights. And when we try to get more specific into the laws we find we have the Computer Misuse and Cyber Crimes Act, which really tried to push the veil. Because before then, we were just dependent on maybe our Constitution, dependent on the Sexual Offences Act, and the Penal Code. But now this broadened it up to cover spaces that ideally weren't covered, such as online hate, cyberbullying, cyber stalking. And when you even come to the most recent Act on Data Protection, that also really widen the scope of how we can protect ourselves from.
So just building on that, you have highlighted on the different laws that are there. And I'm sure the intention is good, but do you feel like there's possible gaps in these laws? And then how would you suggest that these laws could be tightened or the gaps could be filled just to make it better for consumers or recipients of this law?
Yeah, definitely, because consider the fact that we're getting like a Computer Misuse and Cybercrimes Act in 2018, a decade after the new constitution. Yeah, we are slacking, despite having like a very grand and transformative constitution, but we really need laws that speak into specific things, such as perhaps non-consensual sharing of intimate photos, and also that's becoming really big when you find that the theme of this year is tech facilitated gender-based violence. So that's a way that maybe victims suffer, and we don't have any laws that speak specifically into this. We don't have any laws that specifically speak into how one will be held liable if they do share such photos or do share such information. But then again, we still need to have a constitution, which is, you can craft your petition guided by the constitution to buttress a case, but then I'm just saying we need like send out something more specific.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's incredible. So maybe take us through the steps that a survivor of online abuse can take. Say they find themselves in a situation where they have been, or rather they have experienced this abuse legally. What can someone do?
Mm. I first of all I always think that the onus is first the people who provide services to the victims.
Mhm.
We need to be very aware of the situation they are in. We need to know how to handle them. So definitely we need to be very trauma informed around these issues. And secondly, I think we need to know how to protect their privacy. Because one of the things that we realize when it comes to tech facilitated gender abuse is the victims are mostly, if they're still afraid, even when they approach a place of help, they leave there and be like, and what if I go home and they tracked me here? You know, because that's also another form of gender-based violence. So you've been tracked that you went to Kituo Sheria. Oh, so you tried to seek help. So I'm just trying to say we need to be aware of how to best handle them. And definitely you're looking for someone who can give you like some peace of mind or even direct you to where you can get some more help if they're not very conversant with the issue. So I'd say, yeah, come to Kituo. Kituo is a really safe space for any type of victims. And I'd say here you'd find online resources. And one of the best places where I got to also learn about this is the Clinic to End Tech Abuse. It's a Cornell Tech University clinic, sort of like a legal aid clinic, but very focused towards intimate partner violence in the digital space.
Could you call it out again?
Clinic to End Tech Abuse.
Clinic to End Tech Abuse. Incredible. Do you feel like there could be change in laws or policies to maybe tighten this, to securing this digital abuse? For example, let's even start with our police stations, for example. Often you find that when you go to report something that's very sensitive or intimate, you're not really provided with the security. And security could be something as simple as having a room separate that's comfortable enough for you to be able to speak out without fear or shame. So do you feel like there's policy change or laws that could be changed to enhance the experience of the reporting mechanisms, or just creating a safer environment for victims?
Yeah, policy change coupled with a mind shift. Because, yeah, we're living in a society where men are still afraid to speak up. One of the best things that came out of the shift in National Police Service was they decided to put up a gender desk. But then during COVID, you'd find radio hosts talking about how, oh yeah, like a husband can go to the gender desk because they'll be discriminated. People laugh about how maybe he's getting victimized back at home. So yeah, policy changes, number one, perhaps, and it's good, we're seeing it happening, convening like a multi-sectoral approach towards this issue where all actors involved are hands-on so that we can have like a seamless one direction. And when we talk about the mind shift, this means that more people need to be more mentally aware, more mindful, and this comes through perhaps training or comes through gatherings where people share. And yeah, when these two things are in play, then you definitely see like a policy change that's actually beneficial rather than like, paper, words on a paper. Yeah.
And maybe we could also call upon CSOs, the government, to invest in educating the mass public on these laws and how they can protect themselves and how they can use the laws to their benefit, right? So, as we wind up, what takeaway or what message would you have for victims or survivors of digital violence? what would be your take home to them?
I'd want to say, like, speak up and come out, but then,
It's not always that easy.
yeah, it can be that easy, it can be that easy. Find safe spaces, find spaces like Kituo where you can come and get help. But we'll maintain your privacy, we'll keep anything that was confidential. Sometimes if you need someone outside of your circle or someone outside of your reach that you can very easily share with, Um, and I think that's something I'd want to see. And for the perpetrators of this, yeah, don't do it again. Tunakuona. Yeah.
That's true. Jimmy, thank you so much for your words of wisdom, and we look forward to having you back here, hopefully for a different topic or other conversation. Thank you so much.
Sana, I'm glad to be here.
Thank you.